Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from Tinaheals.com, and this video is about the Saturn square Uranus, okay, which is a lingering influence for all of this year, and it's going to be very pronounced next year. Okay, so we are going to have Saturn in a very difficult aspect. Squares are difficult aspects. They're 90 degrees apart, and when squares happen, ultimately it is a call to mastery. It is a call to sort out the differences that are taking place and to work it out, and it always happens with the same modes. So this is happening in the fixed modality. So fixed is fixed, it has fixity, and it does not move, like it's not as impressionable as the mutable or as changeable as the cardinal. Fixed is more fixed. So this square is bringing about a more fixed energy, okay, and this is about Saturn in rulership in Aquarius, which is fixed air, and Uranus is also, of course, ruler of Aquarius in modern astrology, and he is in Taurus, a sign he does not do well in, because fixed earth is not a sign for Uranus, because he brings electrical changes, and he's least comfortable in Taurus. So in this, the first instant is between the two players, who is stronger. So immediately you look towards Saturn to be the more dominant, to be the more strong influence. And Uranus is squaring his own sign, also Aquarius. Now, if you look at Saturn as the ruler of Aquarius, it makes much more sense because it gives the reading a finer nuance. That's why the ancients chose Saturn. In my work, I always look to traditional rulerships, and then of course try to also gauge what the modern rulerships are telling, or I channel those messages. And more than not, it is the traditional rulerships that give me a more nuanced understanding of the natal chart. Okay, so I will hold a Saturn as the ruler of Aquarius, and Uranus is, of course, in the domain of Venus. Interestingly, here also Saturn is in a stronger position, because Saturn is exalted in the domain of Libra, which is ruled by Venus. And even if you look at the myth, Kronos castrated Uranus and gave birth to Venus, or Venus Aphrodite. So here we have the direct confrontation of Kronos with Zeus, with Uranus. Okay, of course Zeus is later on, but Uranus is like the father of Kronos. Okay, and by castrating him, he births Venus Aphrodite. So now Saturn obviously has a closer relationship to Venus, because he literally birthed her into being. And the other thing that is important is to understand that Saturn is #adulting right now. Okay, he has stripped us down to the bare essentials, the bare necessities. He's shown us the bare necessities, and he will continue doing so in the futuristic fixed sign of Aquarius. He's going back to review the work he has done in Capricorn, and of course Uranus is going to do the same. So they're both going to go through this retrogradation cycle, and they're going to build up, amp up to that energy when they finally manifest throughout this next year in a very strong square formation. Okay, so Saturn is the greater malefic, and Uranus is also considered a malefic. Okay, because it's a diabolical energy, it's electrical energy. It's what HPB or Blavatsky calls Fohat. Okay, F-O-H-A-T. It is the electricity of creation, in a sense the ancestor of modern electricity. It is what It is what has brought worlds and universes into creation. That electrical impulse is Uranus. Okay, and Saturn is negentropy. Okay, or Saturn is blackening. Okay, blackening before awakening. So both these planets are actually very different in their archetypal representation. Saturn is more responsibility, duties, and Uranus is more revolution, innovation, but not an egotistic innovation like, creating because I want fame. Uranus wants to create because he really wants to bring about change. Okay, and that is what is happening with Uranus in Taurus. Changing the earth, so much of seismic activity, so many earthquakes. We had the bushfires. Fires are raging everywhere and things are changing. So with this whole 7 years in Taurus, Uranus is going to change the way Gaia defines boundaries. Okay, and will bring about long-term change in agriculture, because Taurus is concerned with not just the physical body but also the food we eat. And Saturn is definitely about these systems as well, because everything is operated with the Saturnine system. And in Aquarius, he's headed towards the great unknown. So he doesn't know the kind of innovation that is expected of him in Aquarius. And he's not met Jupiter, who he's going to meet on 21st, for a long time in their signs. They just met once and the internet was birthed in Libra. And now you can imagine that for 240 odd years they're going to meet in air signs. So, from a resource-based, power-driven, nepotistic structure, we are going to go into something that is community-based, that is ultimately beneficial for all in the long run, because Saturn and Aquarius will be very concerned with what is good for all, and so is Uranus and Taurus. What is good for all the denizens of the earth. What we eat, we are literally the food we eat. The horrors of industrial agriculture and the sort of disastrous plagues it can bring forth. So there's a lot to understand here, and there is no frilling with these planets. You get it raw. With Uranus, things are in fact abrupt. With Saturn, yes, they're more slow moving, but with Uranus, things are abrupt, out of the blue. They shell shock you. It's a spiritual epiphany. That's why Uranus is known as the Great Awakener. And Saturn is definitely the Great Awakener. He is the Lord of the 7th planetary sphere. And he's bringing down the music of creation, through the music of the stars. And it is his domain that we exist upon. So he's very, very important. But Uranus is as important to awaken the spiritual side to us. So we question what lies beyond. If you look at Saturn as a boundary, what it encases is Capricorn, what is out there in the great unknown, out of bounds, that is Aquarius. So now Saturn is not your traditional thinker, like in Capricorn. Now he is the innovator. He is the Nikola Tesla. He's an idealist, yes. He has focus, he has concentration. And yes, he is, of course, apprehensive, but he knows what he wants in Aquarius, and he sees the deep-rooted change that must be brought forth. And he's sort of challenging Uranus in Aquarius to stand up to the challenges that tomorrow brings, to awaken humanity. And that is what Uranus is doing in fixed earth Taurus, showing us what beauty is, what harmony is. And by showing us ugliness, it is revealing to us the beauty of creation. Every single day you awaken and there is a sunrise, you are blessed. Every breath you take, you are blessed. I also told you how Saturn in Aquarius deals with the process of Kumbhaka during pranayama. So there are 4 stages actually. It is inhalation, retention, exhalation, and suspension. So the point between inhalation and exhalation is retention, and that is symbolized by the sign of Aquarius. Okay, it is considered to be the stage of Kumbhaka. So that is what Saturn aspires to do in Aquarius, to reach that stage of Kumbhaka, and it is all about the breath. Okay, your lungs literally release DMT. So conscious breathing is psychedelic. So when you become aware of your breath, it is a big high. And that is what Saturn wants, reaching that stage of Kevala Kumbhaka, from where true innovation can be made with that exhalation. You know, in the Upanishads, they say we are the exhalation and the inhalation of God. When we are created, Narayana exhales, and we are created, and Manvantaras are created. When it is time for the inhalation to go back within, there are the clouds of Pralaya, and everything is destroyed by Shiva. And to Narayana we must return for complete annihilation and destruction. So Saturn in Aquarius is looking at some really powerful changes and is asking Uranus, are you up to the challenge? Because together we can and we will. Because what innovations are coming ahead, none of us can grasp. The era before 2020, the plague that changed everything, is going to be remembered forever, will be etched in the minds of humanity. Let's just put it that way. So it's a powerful square. It's karmic because Saturn is also the lord of karma. He's the lord of time. So Uranus can bring about epiphanies to how we work with time, how we utilize that time, whether it's essential to really, in a Capricornian sense, get into the car and go to work, or can we be more Aquarius, like work online? At home, we are more productive, we are with our family, we can look at so many more things if we can work from home. People like me have already been doing this. So in a sense, it feels funny to see other people adjusting to what I'm used to. But of course, I'm very devastated by what's going on, and I want everything to return to normal, which it never will really, but as normal as it can get. With Saturn in quirky, whimsical, eccentric Aquarius, we don't know, honestly. We have no idea. But don't forget, Saturn can bring up anxiety, phobias, and Uranus is just adding fuel to this. With the square, negative vibrations can come out. So this can manifest in very many ways for very many people, depending on your personal astrology. But phobias, anxiousness, spasms, any kind of accidents can also happen with this, okay? Because Saturn is the greater malefic after all, and Uranus, as I said, is a malefic, okay? Yes, there is that awakening side, there is that spiritual epiphany side, but in the 3D matrix, it is malefic, okay? Ultimately, you may understand that, okay, that is what Uranus was trying to teach me, but it breaks your heart, So I lost my baby, my fur baby, as Uranus went into my 6th, and it devastated me. And I still don't know why or what was the meaning, but yes, I've completely shifted to a newer understanding, and yes, I had a sort of Kundalini awakening with that, but it was hard. It was not something easy, to deal with. So that's a lot, because Saturn is also the wise old man. And according to Jung, in the process of individuation, we have to meet the wise old man. Okay? The wise old man is oftentimes within. The guru is oftentimes within. But the archetype must be confronted. So in a sense, the elderly, and Uranus is youth. So there could be a lot of clash with the elderly and the youthful people, the youth of today, tomorrow, how they think. Some of them may think that elders are, disposable, or you're 70 plus, you're disposable. But no life is disposable. No one is disposable. Everyone is here because they have a soul contract to fulfill. Otherwise, they would not be here, right? Simple, simple. You can make Saturn your greatest enemy, or you can make him your greatest ally. It is honestly up to you. And Uranus can give you vivid, lucid dreams. Vivid, lucid dreams can give you a Kundalini awakening experiences. Okay? Can really invite you to places and realms in your imagination that you did not know existed. And Saturn could give it form, and shape it up. So it's really a profound energy. Squares are disruptive. So a lot of the times we will be feeling the negative implications, incarceration for revolutionaries, for instance. Thwarting of the voice of revolution, or even thwarting the youth in some sense. And we see how university students are already getting impacted even before Ketu moved into Sagittarius. So, we just have so much to deal with right now, that this square is honestly a Saturn-Uranus masterclass that they've teamed up together to bring to us. And through conflict, because even if you look at Buddhism or many Bon and many other systems, they often have wrathful emanations. So squares are somewhat like those wrathful emanations of the deity. So the deity is teaching you something, but this time not in a soft manner. Okay, my father always used to tell me, when life teaches you, it's not your parents, remember that. And I've forever remembered that. I'll never forget that. So Saturn and Uranus are sort of teaching us right now. And it is a call towards spiritual awakening, towards a karmic understanding, towards letting go of hegemony and control, being a control freak, to let go of that. To understand that we are divinity, that Tvamasi, that thou art. I think that is what Uranus and Saturn is trying to tell us. That listen to what is inside. Listen for that Kundalini awakening experience. Because if you are not aware, if you're not conscious, if you don't invite it, it will slip you by, It will slip you by. So let's be conscious of this conversation of tension between the two great luminaries, Saturn and Uranus. Let us see what tomorrow brings, and let us understand what we can bring to the table, because we all bring something unique to the table. So it's time to give back. That's what Saturn in Aquarius wants, to the larger community, to humanity. Innovate, create, care for the earth, love the earth and all her creations. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a reflection on Saturn square Uranus. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think. Thank you.